Hello, everybody. Right now, I'd like to talk to you about why Donald Trump just regurgitated a bunch of stupid things regarding Nigeria, what its root cause is, and what its effects will be. So, Nigeria. Donald Trump has just actually accused Nigeria of not doing enough to protect Christians. Now, before I kind of get into this, know that 53% of the people that identify themselves as religious are Muslim, and then 45% identify themselves as Christians. So there's not really that many more Christians. I'm sorry, there's not really that many more Muslims than Christians. The remaining 2% are they're practitioners of just African tribal religions, and there's a lot of those to keep track of. I'm not even going to begin to pretend like I understand that. But the root of this is there's a lot of right-wing Christian groups actually lobbying to Trump to actually designate Nigeria as a problematic country for Christians. And in a lot of ways, that's true. But the problems that are being faced by Christians is the same problems being faced by the rest of the people in Nigeria, which just really makes us come across as tone deaf, and it's just another diplomatic problem waiting to happen. There is some violence that's regarding herders and farmers. There's a lot of Muslim herders and Christian farmers that are kind of skirmishing back and forth. A comment like that is actually going to make it worse. When you actually have groups that are already divided like that, putting your weight of an entire country on one side is just going to appear like you're doing just that. You're just inflaming issues. Now, Trump probably knows this and he just doesn't care, and he's just trying to appease his base. Or a lot of right-wing evangelicals, as long as you're protecting Christians, or at least positioning yourself that way, they're going to follow you and they're going to give you some political points for it. Okay, well, let's take it another step further. What are the dangers facing Nigerians? Nigeria is a corrupt government. It's an English-speaking government, but it's very corrupt. Even at its core, it's hard to do anything in that country without paying a bunch of people off. So if you were to use economic subsidies for Nigeria, it's all going to just get disappeared and it's all going to get stolen, and very little of it's actually going to go to the country. So economically, it's always kind of been a house of cards. And once you get a whole country that's just built on corruption, it's very difficult to wind it down, because it literally becomes the way you get things done. Now, this agitates two major security issues in Nigeria. In the northeast, they have Boko Haram, which is a Muslim reactionary group that has been waging a war of insurgency since at least 2009. There's some other splinter groups, offshoots, wannabes, and of course, they're not really being willing to share power. That's one issue. And in the northwest, you have just gangs. You have basically gang members that are just kidnapping people and holding them for ransom. And it's a huge problem. One of the issues is they don't have policing in every area. They don't really have like a state police per se. So a lot of this crap can go on. And once again, going back to fixing it, you're going to have to go through an entire corrupt web where most of the money that you do give to the government is going to be stolen by the time it gets there. So that's kind of how it goes. You got terrorists in the northeast that are just trying to create power for themselves. You got gangs in the northwest that are just trying to make a couple bucks in the short term by themselves. And then you got a corrupt central government that makes it really hard to actually have any economic development. But the issue with the government is they are fighting Boko Haram, and they are definitely trying to go after the gangs in the northwest, just like they're trying to go after gangs anywhere. Except, due to the intensity of the fighting and the budget they're having to deal with, it's been an on and off challenge. Sometimes they can keep a lid on them, and sometimes they just cannot. So, in conclusion, yeah, you could argue that Nigeria is not protecting Christians, but they're kind of not really doing a good job of protecting the entire country and anyone that's in it. They're not really singling out or letting a certain group of people take more punishment or do anything like that. That is something Donald Trump would do.